Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 5 of What If Deku Was an Immortal Demon Fairy. So, in the last part, he said to Aizawa, Pixie Bob, and Mandalay the same lie as he said to Gran Torino. He also told the lie to All Might, just kind of try to make it clear. For if Aizawa asked him, basically you would know that, oh, so Deku told you the same thing, well, explained to you the same thing. So, basically they got to the camp. Aizawa told to Izuku and to Akiko to wait before doing the thing, and well, just like in the other part where I said Izuku only asked Akiko to make a bubble on a part of the forest, not everything, so that the other fairy wasn't affected. It's basically going to be the same. Anyway, the bubble she has to do that she did the last time that she did that to that forest was about 2 kilometers in diameter, so it is a big forest. So you don't he has a lot of space to be if he wants to. And there are a lot of monsters. But yeah, Aizawa asked him to not do this until the next day so that he can at least meet with the other two, which are Ragdoll and Tiger, to explain to them, well, what he's going to do. So yeah, they arrived there. He meets Koda previously in the anime. Izuku looks about 10, so he's a bit smaller than what he was in the anime. And so yeah, later the others arrive a bit faster because, well, everyone trained a lot more to try and beat Deku, even though, well, nobody will nor can. Hell, Bakugo completely knows that he's not going to be able to beat him. He knows that way too well. I just thought about it. I think I forgot in the last part to make the battle between Almighty Zuku and Bakugo. If I forgot, basically all that happened is that the moment. Well, no. I did do it. I didn't say anything. Okay, I'm going to continue. So, later, let's say the next day, Class 1B arrived. Tiger and Ragdoll were told about what Izuku and Akiko were going to do. Akiko training, well, her physical body mostly, as well as trying to see how many bubbles she can make at once. Like, she knows she can make 100 without problem. She doesn't know how many more she can make after that. So yeah, Also, Tiger decided to try and see how strong Izuku was, and Izuku was already capable without using his Hunter's Fist. He was already capable of keeping up in his normal body, and if he added or his demon form or his armor, he was basically capable of beating him. He was faster than him. That was already proven. Like, you cannot fight him by speed alone. You have to be able to hit him as well. And strong about that, since regeneration and whatever. And you can't even beat him anyway. So after that, class 1, everyone was gathered around to be, and they were told, okay, so Izuku's going to leave us for a while until the last day. He's going to go in that forest to train. Then a lot of people in class 1A, in class 1B, said, wait, if he's going there, I want to go too. Then other people said the same thing, until Aizawa told him, if you go with him, you're basically going to die before the end of the day. Everyone was like, wait, but if we're with him, monsters won't. Then Aizawa said, it's not for that reason. He's going to go in that forest, and Akiko, I was going to say he was going to call her by her hero name, Time Bubble, but no, he's going to call her Akiko. He just said Akiko is going to make a bubble around the part of the forest where one day outside is going to be around 1,000 years for him. And one was like, you can't be serious. He's going to die. Until Aizawa said, no, not really. Both his mom's quirk and his dad's quirk augment his lifespan by a lot. He basically has an aunt that lives in the top of the forest, and she's about 1,000 years old, and she can still live for a while. If you add the two together plus his regeneration, I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to outlive anyone on Earth, and probably by a few thousand years. So the only rule I told him is that if he starts feeling too old, he has to come out. So basically everyone's going to train like normal, except for him, who's going to be in the forest for, I think, I have to go check something. Okay, I went and checked. On the first day of the training, they started doing everything normally. On the second day, everything happened about the same. And then there was a third day of training with, at night, the test of courage. So let's say she made it so that he would spend about 3,000 years in the forest. So 3,000 years is a long time. The amount of time she augmented the speed that it happened basically made sure that what happened was Izuku, when he came out, because basically she was asked to drop the time bubble, and then Mandalay told Izuku to come back. So when he arrived, they asked him, well, first they looked at him and basically said, you didn't change at all, except your hair. Basically, his hair has grown a lot, because, well, 3,000 years. Um, his strength augmented, but they can't feel it. All they know is that they sensed a light pressure, because, well, basically a freaking monster just arrived in their vicinity. No matter who you are, when something strong arrives close to you, even in real life, if someone is really a lot stronger than you, your body tells you don't mess with it. No matter how weak it looks, your body tells you. Basically, that's the only thing that they're sensing right now. So, yeah. Um, okay, yeah. So, when he came back, he was a lot stronger. Like, with all of that time training, basically, just like Ban, pretty much nothing will be able to even hurt him. His strength is basically, right now, he would be strong enough to, well, let's say, after all of this time, Deku forgot a lot of things about the outside world, because, well, all he did for 3,000 years was train, 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 train. So training to a point that basically any normal human would have died from it, pretty much. His muscles are bigger. His clothes are completely, like, destroyed. Basically, his age didn't seem to change, but hair and muscle basically grew. His wings are about the same. So she said, yeah, it doesn't seem like your wings are going to grow, no matter what. So Aizawa told him, well, with all that training, I'm pretty sure you're stronger than anyone now. Which Izuku said, yeah, basically I'm probably going to be unbeatable, no matter who you put me against. Which, basically, as I was like, yeah, and I was already unable to stop your quirks. No, I'm pretty sure even if I was able to, you'd probably be able to defeat anybody. So, after that happened, they explained to everyone about the um, courage test for the night, which Izuku basically says, why am I alone? Which they basically tells him that, sorry, but you kind of, since there's 5 people in the well, that lost against the teachers. There's one person missing for them to all have a partner. Then they'll before class 1B leaves, Momonoa's like, "What, you're scared?" Which Deku says, "Not really. For 3,000 years I had to face monsters that had kid, their quirk mixed, their DNA mixed, and became stronger and stronger and stronger over time, so I'm pretty much sure nothing you could try to do to me will work." Which they're basically thinking, well, class 1A and pretty much everyone else from class 1B are like, yeah, that would pretty much be expected. So they go to do that, they start doing it up until the point where the Action Vanguard squad attacks. Everyone's a bit stronger, like almost twice the strength they had in the anime, since compared to in the anime, every night, every day they trained when they had time to do it, just to be able to fight against Deku, because they really wanted to try and beat him. Bakugo knew he didn't have a chance against him, and now everyone's like, yeah, all we can do is train to try that at least be on the second spot on the hero list. So yeah, the Action Vanguard squad attack. Everyone in class 1B that were being attacked basically were able to fight back a lot better, faster, stronger, stuff like that. So first, Moonfish against Bakugo and Shoto. He got destroyed. He's on the ground. The guy, what was his name? Well, the guy that makes marble and putting people in it was basically put down by Akiko by her placing him in a bubble so freaking slowed down that he can't move, he can't think, and suddenly he was just knocked out. When Spinner and Magna or something attacked and tried to put down Pixie Bob, Deku saw it and basically was automatically behind them and catch Pixie Bob after knocking them out. Then Mandalay said, "Where's Koda?" Which, in this one, Deku doesn't know. Since the first day, yes, he was there, but it was on the second day that he went and see where he was. So he doesn't know it. He basically says, "I'll go check." And in like a second, he's not there anymore. But looking up, they just see a hole in, well, no. He disappears, and not long after, they hear a sonic boom happening because of his massive speed. Like, Basically, he went around every part of the forest, grabbing everyone, bringing them back. He saw a villain, he was knocking them out, bringing them back, then basically making sure they couldn't attack anymore. Like, he went before coming back to them to take a second piece of the tree to make a second bracelet. So now he has two. So he basically made around them, well, around the villains, he basically made what was it called? Sorry about that. Not around the villain, around the student, I mean. He made Pollen Garden. I was looking for that, and then I was like, wait, he's not going to heal the villains, he wants to heal his friends. So yeah, around the other student and teachers and stuff, he basically placed Pollen Garden. Then he found Coda just before he gets hit, and basically just knocks the hell out of Muscular the second he arrives next to him. Like, first he goes demon form, just to be sure, and then he just hits Muscular so freaking hard in the chest that multiple bones in Muscular's body broke. But he's still alive, but he was knocked out. So Deku brought him back to the camp, as well as Koda. The Nomus, when he saw them, he basically killed them on the spot by destroying the head. So yeah. Bakugo wasn't captured. Everyone in the Action Vanguard squad, even Dabi and what was her name? The crazy girl? They are the only two that were able to escape, because basically the moment the others started going away, Korogiri was able to grab those two and pull them back. So Dabi and Toga, that's her name. Dabi and Toga were able to escape. The others didn't have any chance to do that. So they're already out. Momo was able to put a tracker on one of the two Nomus, and since Deku didn't bring them back, since he just killed them, Korogiri still kind of brought them back so that the doctor could at least take some DNA, well, their DNA, and in hopes of taking the quirks to put them in some other Nomus or stuff like that. So they still know where it is. When they leave, the police was called, heroes were called, and basically everyone that was there that asked question basically were explained that Izuku trained using Death Forest and the quirk of one of his classmates to train for 3,000 years, which All Might was kind of like, whoa, so you really went with it. And the police were like, wait, you knew about that? Wait, he can do that? Until All Might says, yeah, well, his father and his mother's quirk basically allows him to live a really long time, and both of those quirks mixed. So he explained to us that he might be able to live a lot longer than any of us. And it seems that he was right. So All Might also saw the second bracelet and said, so you went back to your aunt to get a second one? Which he said, yeah. So now he can, if he wants now, basically he can have two of whatever the hell he has in store for his weapons. So if he wanted, he could put an armor around himself and around someone else. Or make two pollen garden, two forest, two sword, and so on and so forth. So yeah. Later, Momo tells them about the tracker, and All Might automatically says, we have to get Izuku Midoriya on this. Which Endeavor tells him he's just a kid. What do you want him to do? Until All Might says, not anymore. He's older than any of us here. Which Gran Torino asks him, what does he mean? Which All Might then explain, you know how his father, Demon Slayer, which everyone was like, wait, Demon Slayer, you mean the number 4 hero that didn't age, that was killed? All Might says, yeah, well, Izuku is his son, and both him and both Demon Slayer and the mother of Izuku have quirks that makes them live for a long time. His quirks is a mix of them, and he stayed for 3,000 years in that forest using the quirk of someone else. So they basically were like, shit, he trained for 3,000 years? He's not a kid anymore. He's a man. Which then they say, okay, yeah. So he comes with us, and later they All Might go and tells him they go to do that. Izuku was placed so that he was going with All Might to Shigaraki, Dabi, Kurogiri, and Toga, since everyone else got captured, thanks to Deku. While everyone else goes for the Nomu factory. The same thing happens, they get teleported. Izuku and All Might screams no. And the moment he goes to leave, Deku's all... No, both him and Deku leaves. But not like All Might is following Deku. Deku literally grabbed All Might and went as fast as he could to the other place and basically saw the massive hole. So they arrived before Best Janus got attacked, and All Might saw all for one. Everyone were like, All Might, Izuku, you're there. Awesome. You can take him down now. Which All Might looked at Deku and said, Grab a camera. And started walking. Just with that, Izuku knew All Might is going to take him down by himself. And he's going to make sure that it is a spectacle. Because if you remember, All Might got healed by Deku. So he did give one for all to Akiko, but he still has a good part of his strength. So he can hit, and he can hit hard. So basically, Deku used his skill Disaster to basically grab some leaves or stuff to grab the cameras, and was basically making them float all around All Might. Since with Disaster, as long as it's something like plants, water, or wind, he can make it move. So yeah, he basically made kind of leaf hands to grab the cameras, and then started healing everyone. Which, in the background of one of the camera, you could see Deku healing people. So the fight started, and All for One automatically saw that, oh shit, All Might's stronger. He's as strong, he's really strong compared to me. The difference is that he's still able to keep up for some reason, which surprised All Might, because he thought, wait, both me and him got bad injuries and I was healed. Why is he able to keep up with me? The reason for that is because of Deku. Shigaraki told All for One about what Deku did and the strength and speed he had. So All for One decided to make sure that he could at least try and fight it. None of them knows how long Deku spent in the forest. But they don't... All Might told Deku not to fight. So for now, Deku's not fighting. So, over time, All Might and All for One were starting to lose stamina over time, getting weaker and weaker, and after a fight that lasted almost an hour, All Might started coughing a bit. He started buffing down with smoke around him, and Izuku saw that. And during the 3,000 years, Deku was able to think a lot about stuff, and mostly about what All Might told him about the power. And he knew that At some point, it was going to leave All Might. No matter how strong he seems, it's still leaving him. And in that moment, he knew it's not going to take long before it's gone. So basically, he grabbed the camera and brought it close to him and said, "Everyone, this villain is something that you're..." All Might's hearing that also, as well as All for One. He's hearing this villain is someone that's able to keep up with All Might, the symbol of peace. He's able to push him away. Everyone is probably freaking out right now, which a big part of them is. All Might is like freaking out because what the hell is he doing? And then Deku says he had an injury a while ago that I was able to heal on him, but it still took a toll on him. His power is becoming weaker and weaker over time, so he decided to choose a successor to be the next symbol of peace. But he didn't just choose one, which, while All Might was hearing that, he started to think, this kid has guts. And, All for One said, this kid has guts. He's able to talk like that while you're starting to lose. Until Deku basically said, this might be All Might's last battle. But even if he loses, you still have something to look forward to. Which All Might basically said, Deku, bring me a camera. Which Deku basically moved the camera close to All Might. Which All for One was like, so you want to say some words to your fans? When the camera was close enough, he basically looked in it and said, this will be my last battle. I am using the last remnants of my power to fight him. It has been leaving me for a while. But do not fear. We have someone that is even stronger than me. Hell, he could probably beat me without even trying. Which All for One was like, so, you already passed your quirk? Then he says, All Might says, this boy, pointing the camera to Deku, has a quirk that allows him to live for so long. And a girl that has a quirk that can accelerate time for a certain place. He was able to train for 3,000 years in simply 3 days. His body didn't even seem to change a lot. So if you know, and that means a lot to me, thinking about it. He isn't just stronger than me. He is going to be able to stand ground as the #1 hero for years and years. He can heal. He is strong. He is fast. And the one thing that he is over every other things he He is the one who can take down this man. Which infuriates All For One, and basically he goes for a punch, which everyone saw, and suddenly Izuku was behind All Might. The punch All For One was going to throw was basically an upgraded version, like 2 or 3 times stronger than what he used in the anime for the combination of quirks. And Izuku blocked it with one hand, without even looking at All Might or the camera. He said, "If you want, I can take it." Which All Might started buffing down, and then said, "Then I leave the rest to you. This was my last battle, and you have a lot to get to." Which Deku then, in a single motion, takes down All For One, and and All For One falls on the ground. Everyone was cheering. Everyone in Class 1A basically were starting to, how do you say it again? Cheer. Because they basically saw one of their friends basically take down in one hit the villain that All Might was having trouble with. So when everything was ended, authorities and press were basically all around Izuku and All Might. And Inko was basically watching TV and heard about what Izuku did. And she was like, 3,000 years? Like, her head stopped listening, her ears stopped listening to what was said after that, and she was literally not looking at the TV anymore. So she didn't even see him do anything after that. She just heard that Deku used the quirk of someone else to train for 3,000 years and 3 days. And all she was thinking is, demons and fairy can't live that long. What the hell happened? So, after a long time and over time, stuff happened. The dorm were set. Izuku went back to his house, and basically his mother was like all over him, asking how he's going to explain, how he was thinking he was going to explain to everyone what happened. And he basically says, well, they're already sure that the only reason, since she knows he drank the Fountain of Youth, he basically told her that everyone thinks since his quirk is a mix of his parents' quirk, he can live a lot longer than them. He then explained the story he gave to some of the heroes about the fairy on the big tree in the middle of that forest. And everyone bought it. And she was like, so you literally have every base for that covered? He said, yeah, pretty much. She was happy for him. She was angry that he didn't tell her what he was going to do. Then, like 2 days later, All Might and Aizawa came to talk about the dorms. And so, at the end of it, Izuku went to the dorm and everyone basically jumped on him when he entered because, well, he took down a villain in one hit. So, after everything happened with Aizawa showing them the dorms and everything, and um, the room evaluation from the students, like the little game they did. This time, Izuku's room isn't plastered with All Might posters everywhere. It has pictures of his father, pictures of his mother, some All Might toys, but pretty much what his room looks like is basically like his bed is like a hammock made of vine. Like basically he used one of his two spears to make forest in his to use the weapon forest in his room to kind of make a small forest. And basically everyone was like, how the hell did you get trees in here? Which he did ask Aizawa before doing it. Aizawa told him it was okay, as long as it didn't, like, break anything else. So, basically all Izuku did was place some sort of small wall in front of the door that was like a step, then about 2 or 3 inches of dirt, and then every roots from the trees and other plants are basically just in that amount. So yeah, that's Izuku's room. It's just a change I wanted to do because, well, in this one he is a fan of All Might, but he mostly liked nature in this one. So yeah, I'm going to end it here before anything else, because yeah, it's a 50-minute video. I know it's a lot of time, 3,000 years for Deku. Basically, he's stronger than Ban after he comes out of purgatory. Right now, there's no one that's going to be able to defeat him. I left a big part of the story at the start with him being weak, but now, yeah, it's the starting point of him being way too overpowered. That's going to happen in multiple of my series. Like, Saiyan Deku is basically him and All Might are warriors that are so freaking strong that no one would defeat them. Hell, One for All in my Saiyan Deku is basically useless for All Might now, since he trained in his skinny form for about since Deku was 12 up until he was 14 before the entrance exam. In that time he was almost 400 years in the time chamber, not aging, not needing food, not needing sleep, thanks to the wishes. So now basically his body looks like when he buffs up, staying still, one for all, naturally. In my magma Deku's like so freaking strong since the only thing that would be able to stop him is if Shoto was able to augment his ice a lot further, or if someone was able to submerge Deku in water before he's able to react to anything. And soon I'm probably going to start a new one. So yeah. That was part 5 of What If Deku Was an Immortal Demon Fairy. Hope you liked it. Natsu out.